Testing. Testing. Testing, testing. Testing, testing. Okay, we are live. Sorry again about the late start. Today, I did want to actually really just talk about some safe tips for New Year's Day. Now, I'm going to assume that everybody watching this is going to be safe on New Year's Day, New Year's Eve, I should say. Nothing's wrong with partying. Nothing's wrong with having a good time. But you want to do so safely. You want to protect yourself. You want to protect those around you. And I've said this before, I think we as Freemasons do have a responsibility to set an example, and by doing so, try our best to be safe, to set an example. Obviously, some of them, I guess, are very obvious. For example, don't drive while intoxicated. Don't drive drunk, obviously. Don't drive intoxicated, not just drunk, but intoxicated, including high, whatever it might be. But there's other safety tips as well for you and those around you, and we're going to talk about those. And I think, again, as Freemasons, we have, or at least I have a responsibility both to be safe myself and maybe encourage others to be safe also. In the meantime, thank you all for being here. Please take a moment, hit the like and subscribe button. I mentioned this before, I'll mention this again. It has been a really incredible 2025 for Square and Compass Promotions. I was able to get monetized both in terms of super chats and memberships. And thank you for everybody who is a member and a super chatter or who does super chats. I was also able to get monetized in terms of ad revenue, which means I was able to make it to over 4,000 watch hours within the last 12 months. And that is incredible. I'm just very grateful for that. And I'm grateful to everybody who's made it possible. If you like, comment, subscribe, share, if you're a member, if you're a Patreon member, if you follow me on social media, thank you so much. I'm truly grateful. And I have no doubt that 2026 is going to be even more exciting and even better than 2025. Well, then I don't want to be part of your group, Nigerian Nightmare. If driving while intoxicated, drunk or otherwise, is required, then count me out. But thank you so much for being here nonetheless. I hope that you are doing well. Hello, Dream Seeker. Happy New Year's to you also. I hope you're having an excellent day. Happy New Year's to you as well, Dad. Thank you for being here. As I mentioned, at 11 p.m. tonight, Eastern time, so that'd be 10 p.m. your time, Dad, I'm going to be going on my personal YouTube channel, and we'll just count down the hour together, maybe watch some movies, who knows, have some fun, hang out. I'm going to be doing some more shorts as well, YouTube shorts, because those have been going very well. So yeah, we'll hang out, we'll talk. And I'm assuming Dad's going to be out at the bar, partying, picking up the ladies. You know how it goes, which is perfectly fine. But if he's back home, he can jump on with me for a few minutes. Dream Seeker, I hope you're doing well. By the way, to Windsor people, the City Hall Square is doing actually a special celebration. They're going to have free hot chocolate. They're going to have food trucks. They're going to have giveaways. That's from 6 to 9 at City Hall Square at the ice rink. I would say if you can, you should check it out. It should be really, really cool to see. So, that's right. Yeah, buddy, indeed. But Dream Seeker, thank you for being here. I don't know if you have any plans for New Year's. Sometimes the best plan for New Year's is just to go to sleep. A lot of people, especially as you get older, you're not quite so interested in staying up to watch the ball drop. But I might do so. 5 kids altogether. That's a lot. I'm sure they'll be excited though. Do they get to stay up to 12? Um, like, do you let them stay up to midnight, or are they too young for that? So 8 kids. Your house is going to be hopping. I would be terrified to be in that house, but I'm sure it's going to be a lot of fun. So enjoy it. Enjoy New Year's Day. I'm also probably going to stop by the casino, Caesar's Greetings, just because they usually have fun stuff on New Year's Eve as well. Thank you, Linking Atlas. I hope that you're doing well. Well, the nice thing about being younger when you have your kids is by the time they get, with not just when they're the teenage years, but are on their own, you still have, your late 30s and 40s to yourself. Whereas if you start later, um, you don't get rid of them until you're in your 60s or whatever it is. But I think everybody kind of does it however it is that works for them, right? A lot of people, especially in 2025 or recently, are having kids much older. Like Bill Burr, a comedian I like. I think he had his kids when he was like 48, 49. I just found out Rob Van Dam, professional wrestler Rob Van Dam, is having kids. I think he's in his 50s. So, yeah, so younger, but hey, nothing's wrong with that. I'm sure you're very proud of them. I mean, I don't know. 16-year-olds can be a pain in the butt as well, but still, I'm sure you're a very proud father. Well, that's one solution, Nigerian Nightmare. All right, we're just going to hang out. We're going to wait to see who joins. Jump in the chat, hit that like and subscribe button. In case anybody's curious, for round 2 of my question, which was which word best describes Freemasonry? Actually, right now, the winning word in round 2, last time I checked, was light, which is interesting. I thought Brotherhood would take it, but light is in the lead at the moment. Let me see if it's still the case. That's right. Dad brings up a very good point. Auld Lang Syne was written by a famous Mason and a famous poet, both a famous Masonic poet. Actually, I was wrong. As of 5 votes right now, Brotherhood is in the lead. Robbie Burns, who wrote Auld Lang Syne. So New Year's Eve, definitely, and New Year's Day, definitely have some Masonic connections to them. Um, as there's a lot of things in life that people don't recognize. Wild and Fresh is on the stream. He says, I want to join the Masons for the naked rituals. Well, Wild and Fresh, you would be very disappointed when you found out that there are ceremonies, none of them involve getting naked, so you're going to be very disappointed. Um, Although you really shouldn't want to join Freemasonry for the ceremonies anyways. You should want to join Freemasonry because of what you can contribute to it, not what you can receive from it. Wild and Fresh, please hit the like button. Please hit that subscribe button. Welcome to the channel. Burp, burp. You should hit subscribe twice for 2 burps. No. Freemasons are not trying to install a new world order, nor are we sacrificing anything, with the exception of our time. We are actually being pretty sacrificial of our time, but that's okay. Um, Sacrificing your time for a common cause to make things better is an admirable sacrifice. I know what haggis is. Hello, Uno Sotana. Thank you for being here. I learned what haggis is. I had it in Scotland. I had haggis, neeps, and tatties. It wasn't bad. To me, it tasted just like a really thick meatloaf. You definitely felt like, it had a good, you felt very hearty, very fulfilled by the time you were finished. Happy New Year as well to you, and thank you for being here. I hope you're doing well. I was going to talk today about some New Year's Eve safety tips. Just a reminder that we, or me as a Freemason, and we as Freemasons have a responsibility to try and act and live our lives in a responsible manner. That includes on New Year's Eve. Going out partying, nothing's wrong with that, having a bit of fun, but make sure you're doing so safely. And we'll talk about what that means. And how to be safe. A lot of this stuff is common sense, but maybe there's some ideas that you didn't think of, especially ideas not related to driving, but just other ways to be safe, physically, etc., as well as party hosts. Well, so long as you're doing it safely, nothing's wrong with that, dream seeker, right? Everything in moderation, I think, is usually pretty good advice, at least in my experience. Everything in moderation. What is Freemasonry? Freemasonry is a civic organization or a civil group that has existed for over 300 years. Hello, John. Thank you for being here. I hope you're doing well. I hope you'll hit that like and subscribe button. If you're new to the stream. If you're not new to the stream, welcome back. Yesterday we talked about some Masonic New Year's resolutions that people, Masons especially, may want to make, and also my suggestions on how they can potentially achieve those resolutions. I hope that you guys will look at those. I wrote them all down. I put them in the description to the video, as well as published the link to an article that can give you some good ideas on how to achieve those resolutions. Thank you, John. Happy New Year to you also. I hope you're going to have a good, enjoyable New Year's. A safe New Year's, but an enjoyable New Year's. Right now, we're just hanging out, though, waiting to see who joins, jumps in the chat to say hello. Like I said, it's been an excellent 2025. I'm sure 2026 for Scar and Compass Promotions is going to be even better. And to everybody who's helped make 2025 so successful, whether it be, again, through liking, subscribing, commenting, sharing, whatever it might be. Please know how grateful I am. Thank you, Michael. Thank you for stopping in. I hope you're going to have an excellent New Year's Eve and a New Year's Day and an excellent 2026. We're going to give it a bit of time. We're going to wait to see who jumps on. As always, the first hour, I just chill out, relax, and wait to see who joins. And then the second hour is when I talk about, Freemasonry, or I talk about my specific topic. Saber Crosby. I don't like even numbers, but I can already feel 2026 is going to be a good year. Well, thank you, Saber Crosby. Maybe 2026 will be the exception and it will be a good year. Though why don't you like good years? Or sorry, even numbers, excuse me. I feel like most people actually, if you ask them, would say they prefer even numbers to odd numbers. I do like movies. What's The Outsiders about? I don't know if I've heard of that. I've heard of The Outsider, which I think is actually available on Tubi, but I don't know if I've heard of the Outsiders. What are those about? There is no mega rit. I don't know what mega rituals are. I mean, there's going to be some really exciting Masonic events. Um, I just discovered one happening in Brazil. There's the ANCOM in the Philippines. There's going to be a lot of really fun and really exciting Masonic events. I don't know about mega rituals, but definitely a lot of exciting Masonic events in 2026. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Every ritual is mega. Every ritual is important. Every ritual matters. Put it that way. Um, I have not watched David Schurter yet. I know he's doing pretty well though. He's got 9,000 subs. I don't think he needs me to watch him. He's growing quick. Oh, okay. The Stay Golden movie. I think I watched that in school. I don't remember anything about it. It starred all the Brat Pack people, right? Like it starred, um, like Rob Lowe and Estevez and all those. Josiah, where are you in 2026? 40 minutes ago? Uh, Scotland, the Philippines, where are you? That is now 2026. Having said that, though, that's awesome. Congratulations. Happy New Year. I hope that your 2026 is off to a good start. I mean, it must be since you're here with me. So, if you're here with me, then I guess your 2026 is starting out excellent. How could it not if you're hanging out with me just 40 minutes in? Um, that was Google AI. Yeah, it sounded. You can start to kind of read the AI. You can kind of hear it. So AI has a certain way of speaking, a certain way of typing. I don't know if speaking is the right word. But there's a certain cadence and rhythm and style to artificial intelligence. Whether it's Google, ChatGPT, I'm seeing a lot of it on social media now. A lot of times people are writing in such a way that it sounds very much like AI. Um, well, if anybody is attacked by a Freemason or by anybody, they should contact the police. Bob, I mean, you can get if you like the symbol, you can do whatever you want, including getting, a pipe or any object with a square and compass on it. My advice is always, if you're not a Freemason, it's better to not. Um, but you can do what you want, right? I mean, there's really nothing that can be done, and a lot of people who aren't Masons have rings, coins, all sorts of different items that are that have a square and compass on them. Well, don't do that, dang. What you should do is hit the like and subscribe button. But I would suggest not doing that. That'd be my own personal suggestion for whatever it's worth. I won't be the tribulation. I don't know what that means. Isn't tribulation like a religious doctrine or religious belief? I could be mistaken, but I don't think I've heard that before. I have FBI and CI. I would not be wearing FBI shirts, even more so than not wanting to wear Masonic stuff if you're not a Mason. I would definitely not want to wear, an FBI shirt if I'm not FBI, because I'd be terrified that I'd just be hanging out and all of a sudden there'd be some type of crime occurring and people would look to me for help, thinking I could assist them, and I would not be able to. So I would not be wearing that myself, I can tell you that. Um, or somebody in the FBI would see me, think I was FBI, and start talking to me, and that could be an issue. But that, again, this goes back to this piece of advice I always give. Just because somebody's wearing a shirt, has a pipe, has a pin, has a coin, has a ring that has a square and compasses on it, it doesn't automatically mean they're a Freemason. You still have to do your due diligence. You have to talk to them. You have to, you know, ask for a dues card, do all the things necessary to confirm whether they are or are not Freemasons. So keep that in mind. I would not want to take that risk, but Michael, you do you. What's so interesting about these streams lately is I'm finding I get the majority of my viewers at the 1 a.m. streams. Apparently, my audience are night owls like me, so there you go. Well, sometimes experiments can blow up in your face, so. Once again, we're just hanging out, waiting to see who joins. Once we get about an hour in, I'm going to start talking about New Year's Eve safety tips, ways to keep yourself safe on New Year's, as well as ways to keep maybe, setting an example for Freemasonry on New Year's as well. Or as a Freemason, setting an example. But that will be about an hour in. For now, we're just hanging out, waiting to see who joins. And to anybody who is joining us for the first time, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, consider a super chat, all that good jazz. Happy New Year is trending on social media. If your lodge is doing a social media post, like congratulating with, or if your lodge is doing a social media post for the New Year's, then I'd love to see it if you want to share it with me through my social media accounts. When I talk about, lodges doing things for, it could be Christmas, Halloween, New Year's, Easter, Ramadan, Passover, it doesn't always mean a banquet or a celebration or a big event. It can be something not small, but as simple as a social media post celebrating the occasion, or maybe a special message from your worshipful master celebrating the occasion, whatever it might be. Well, I mean, in fairness, I wear my widow's son's sweatshirt as well, even though I'm not in widow's sons. But I feel like at least I'm a Freemason, and if anybody comes up and asks me if I'm widow's son, I can say no. It's meant to support I can just support widow's sons without myself being a member of the widow's sons. And that, I mean, there are some people who probably wear Masonic square and compasses, not because they may not be square and compasses they may not be Masons themselves, but they may want to support Freemasonry for whatever reason. Maybe they have friends who are Freemasons, they have family members who are Freemasons, they may have bought the shirt as part of a fundraiser for a Masonic lodge. In those cases, I appreciate that very much. I support that. Again, it's just making sure that when you do that, you don't automatically assume somebody wearing the shirt is a Freemason, and you explain to people, right, that you're not a Freemason if they ask, but you got the shirt at a fundraiser to support a friend, to support family, whatever it might be. I do not know what Pinkerton is. I mean, Pinkerton is a town, I know that, but I do not know anything else regarding it or what you are referring to. Martin Fox, actually, Lewis Masonic, posted something. I just shared that. So, Lewis Masonic, an excellent, excellent, excellent Masonic resource for anybody who may be interested. All right, we're just going to hang out, wait to see who else joins. Please hit that like and subscribe button if you are new to the stream. Don't forget, On my personal channel, 11 p.m., we're going to be doing um, a stream counting down to midnight on my personal YouTube channel. And we're just going to give it a bit more time, wait to see who joins. Clearly, my audience are a bunch of night owls like me and prefer midnight, 1 a.m. live streams. But hey, I enjoy these as well, and anybody who jumps on, I appreciate very much. Oh, Chicago looks beautiful at the moment. I just found a picture of it live. Got some nice snow hitting, that's for sure. Actually, I'm going to make that the poll question. Pinkerton shows up. I never read the James Bond books. I've seen a few of the movies. I think everybody has, but I've never seen any, read any of the books by Sir Ian Fleming. If I recall correctly, though, let me double check. I think he was a Freemason. Oh, he was not. I was incorrect. Oh, but Sir Alexander Fleming, who discovered penicillin, he was a prominent Freemason and belonged to several lodges, including Sancta Maria Lodge. And I guess Ian Fleming's father, Valentine Fleming, was a Mason also. So there you go. Even though Ian Fleming was not a Freemason, his father was, and the discoverer of penicillin was also. So anybody who has ever had an infection that they've had to, take medication for, thank a Freemason. Berth, the monarchy in Hawaii, is there still a monarchy in Hawaii? Was there a monarchy in Hawaii? I had no idea. What's going on, Bartholomew? I had no clue that there was a quote-unquote monarchy in Hawaii. That's really cool. Well, that would be the most handsome caveman / Fred Flintstone ever. There are, Nam Roth, there is the Order of Women Freemasons, which is actually very prominent right now in the United Kingdom. There's also Eastern Star, which is a Masonic body, and there's the liberal orders in co-masonry. There's also Rainbow, which is a youth group for young women ages 11 to 21, a Masonic youth group. And there's De Molay, which is a Masonic youth group for young men. So I'm curious. I'm going to look this up while I'm hanging out. Hawaii monarchy. The Hawaiian Kingdom, also known as the Kingdom of Hawaii, was an archipelagic country from 1795 to 1893, which eventually encompassed all of the inhabited Hawaiian Islands. It was established in 1795 when Kamehameha, then Anu of Hawaii, conquered the islands of Oahu, Maui, Molokai, and Lanai and unified them under one government. In 1810, the Hawaiian Islands were fully unified when the islands voluntarily joined the kingdom. The kingdoms subsequently gained diplomatic recognition from European powers and the United States. An influx of European and American explorers, traders, and whalers soon began arriving to the kingdom, introducing diseases such as syphilis, tuberculosis, smallpox, and measles, leading to the rapid decline of the native Hawaiian population. In 1887, the king was forced to accept a new constitution. Hawaii became part of the U.S. as a territory of Hawaii until it became a U.S. state in 1959. Very cool. They dedicated the cornerstone of the palace on New Year's Day. Bill Clinton was not Rainbow. Bill Clinton was De Molay. He was part of the Masonic youth group De Molay. Never joined Freemasonry. I don't want to use the term proper because De Molay is a proper part of Freemasonry, but never joined the the recognized quote unquote Masonic order, but was De Molay. The wonders of trolling. I am not a big fan of trolling. I don't think it's wonderful at all. Having said that, I hope that you're doing well. I hope you hit the like and subscribe button. Burp, burp. No, the Freemasons did not build any islands. We're not builders at all. There's not. I mean, we're metaphorical builders. We build things in a metaphorical sense. We, apply tools of building to creating, to building ourselves and the community around us. We did not build Epstein Island, though. That would be an example of a troll. We're going to give it a bit more time. Again, about half an hour more, and then we'll start talking about today's subject, which is ways to stay safe on New Year's Day. Yes, Grasshopper, I got a big square head. You should hit the like and subscribe button. Bartholomew, look up the palace dedication in Hawaii. Well, if anybody's trying to snatch you, you should contact the police. Let's see. Palace dedication, Freemasons, Hawaii. The cornerstone of Lolani Palace in Hawaii was laid by Freemasons, with the ceremony presided over by King Kalukalu, a prominent and active member of the fraternity. This event highlighted the strong historical ties between the Hawaiian monarchy and Freemasonry in the late 19th century. I would love to visit. I don't know if it's actually Iulani Place or Lolani Place. I can't tell if that's an I or an L. It's an I, so it's Iulani Place. Or sorry, Iulani Palace, in fact. Iulani Palace in Hawaii. It's beautiful. There's several tours. If you're a Mason and you're visiting Hawaii, I would recommend or suggest maybe you check out Iulani Palace in Honolulu. Where is it located? What's the address? Honolulu. Yes, it is located in Honolulu, Hawaii. You can contact them through 808-522-0822, Monday through Friday, 8 to 4:30. What color are my eyes? My eyes are the color blue, which you can see them on the screen, which, by the way, please hit the like and subscribe button. That's the most important thing. No, the NWO, I mean, if you're talking about professional wrestling NWO, then of course every Freemason believes in the NWO for life, because, the NWO is just too sweet. If you're talking about the conspiracy theories, then no, that's a bunch of baloney. My daughter went to Hawaii. Did she check out Iolani Palace? Did she get pictures of the cornerstone? There are women Freemasons. There's the Order of Women Freemasonry, and there's also Eastern Star. There's Co-Masonry. The Order of Women Freemasons has actually been working very closely with the United Grand Lodge of England as it relates to the Metropolitan Police Force's decision regarding membership disclosure. 3 votes, 2 no's, 1 yes. Whoever said yes, let me know what you're doing for New Year's, what the plans are. I've known many gay Freemasons. Well, I'd say many. I've known 4 gay Freemasons. Freemasonry does not discriminate based on sexual orientation, nor should it. Got my awesome coffee here, by the way. Did you see the palace, Dad? How was it? How much of Honolulu did you get to see? I'd love to visit Hawaii. I don't even know actually where precisely Hawaii is. I know it's somewhere in the Pacific, but I have no idea how long of a flight it takes to get there, or like how expensive it is to get there. I actually met a few years ago the Grand Master of the Grand Lodge of Hawaii um, in California. He flew there for the annual communication in California. He was a really cool dude. It was really cool to meet him. Let's see. I'm assuming the best way to get there would be through Los Angeles. It's like a 10-hour flight. That's crazy. I had no idea it was that. Oh, it's 5 hours. All right, that makes more sense. It's a 5-hour flight. Charge it to the game and feel. I have no idea what that means, Eddie. Welcome, though. Thank you for being here. I hope you're doing well. We're going to talk about safety tips for New Year's Eve 2025. I think we, or me as a Freemason, we have a responsibility to at least try to set a good example in terms of being safe, both being concerned for our safety and being concerned for the safety of others. Um, and also recognizing and understanding that there can be liabilities to us if we're not being safe, both legal liabilities, especially if we're hosting a New Year's Eve party, things like that. I just spent time on the beaches. I would love to see the beaches of Hawaii. I'm sure they would be beautiful. But obviously, I love to travel. I consider myself kind of a professional traveler. So much of my traveling, though, I've talked about this before, right? So much of my traveling is kind of is Masonic in nature. I'm going to meetings, whatever it is, that I do take pride though in at least trying when I can to check out wherever I'm at, like learn more about it, check out at least a couple, not just tourist locations, but a couple of special locations to the locals, take the public transit, etc., etc. Shop at a local restaurant or local store. I want to try to support the local economy. If you're traveling as a Mason, every time you support a local business or local shop, whatever it might be, you're ultimately, I think, reflecting well upon the craft. So I'm not a big fan of I understand sometimes it has to be that way, but this whole thing of like, you get to a new city, you jump in a cab, you go right to your hotel, you do the thing you're there to do, and then you just go right back to your hotel, and you don't take the time to take the public transit, to learn about the city, to visit with the locals. I think you're missing out on a pretty major opportunity. And from a Masonic perspective, you're missing out on a really major opportunity to promote the craft. A Mason is a Freemason. A Mason is a member of a Masonic lodge, part of the oldest fraternity in the world. It is not a cult. It is a group or an organization. You can't think of it as a fraternity if you want, though there are women Freemasons also. Burp, if you are in the United Kingdom, you can be. The Grand Lodge of England came out with the trans policy approximately 2018, I think it was 2018, which basically set the policy for England and said that, if you're a trans man, you can still join and be a Freemason, which I think is the right policy. There are, 50 different jurisdictions in the States of AF and AM Freemasonry. Then there's Prince Hall. They all have different policies on trans membership. I can speak for UGLE. because that's, I think, the best policy and the one that I think is the correct approach to take. Well, I don't know where you're from, but I cannot sponsor you. You got to talk to the lodge. If you want, it's not even about getting sponsorships. You shouldn't be thinking about it at the start in terms of getting sponsorships or anything like that. If you're interested in joining Freemasonry, start by just going and approaching the lodge and talking to them and expressing an interest. Take it as an opportunity for you to get to know more about them and for them to get to know more about you. And once you've kind of spent some time with them, gone out for coffee, gone to dinners, whatever it might be, toured the lodge room if you want, or the lodge building, they've met your family, whatever it might be, at that point, you can start to talk about getting an application form and getting sponsors. Um, yes, check your smoke detectors, smoke alarms monthly. If I recall correctly, you should every month check your smoke alarms, every year replace the batteries, and every 10 years replace the device, I think is the rule. Welcome back, Kaboom, indeed. I mean, I don't know if I've ever known, like I'm sure based on statistics, I've known several autistic Masons. I don't know if I've ever met any who were either diagnosed or told me they were autistic, but I can understand people with autism enjoying Freemasonry because it does provide routine and pattern, and there's a set way to open and a set way to close. And I do understand for some autistic people, they get a real sense of comfort and enjoyment from routine and patterns, right? Freemasonry in general is very much interested in patterns, certainly geometric patterns and geometry. So, welcome back. It's me, Randall Ivory. Thank you for being here as always. I hope that you're doing well. I hope that you will take a moment to hit that like button. If you've not done so, consider a year-end super chat. Why not? Help out the channel that way. And we're going to give it another, I've just been on for 42 minutes so far. Give it another 20 minutes. Then we'll see who else jumps in the chat to say hello. And we'll start talking about safety New Year's Day. Oops, sorry about that. Just waiting to see if anybody else jumps in the chat to say hello. Again, the first hour, I don't have any specific topics. I just hang out and wait to see who joins and who wants to talk. To all of my friends, family, Masonic brothers, whether you are here, there, around here or near or far, here or there, I hope that you are having an excellent New Year's day. Or New Year's Eve, I should say. And I hope that 2025 was good to you. If it wasn't, then I'm glad that you can put this year behind you. If it was, then I'm glad it was, and I hope 2026 is even better for you. We're just going to hang out now, though. Wait to see who joins, who jumps in the chat, who wants to say hello. Don't forget, on my personal YouTube channel tonight, 11 o'clock, I'll be streaming, getting ready for New Year's, the countdown to New Year's. And we're just waiting to see who jumps in the chat. What's up, the Batman? Doing well. How are you doing? I hope you're doing well. Any plans for New Year's? Or are you just going to hang out with me New Year's Eve? Well, Austin, I'm going to have to put you on a timeout. Don't forget, hit that like and subscribe button and call the police if anybody is harming you. All right. I went to my local law. I'm Gucci. Well, that's cool. Well, I can't speak to what happened, um, or your appearance or anything like that. What I guess I'll say is, so long as you left them with your contact information and how they can contact you, they should, the application process takes time. And at the start, it's not even about the application. It's about them getting to know you and you getting to know them. I usually don't watch the ball drop. I mean, tonight, again, from 11 to 12, who knows? I may. There might be a lot of different, I don't know what I'm going to be doing on the stream tonight, other than hanging out and chatting with whomever jumps on the stream and whomever wants to say hello. I haven't been doing a lot of stuff with my personal YouTube account, even though I enjoy it. So I do want to try to do some more stuff with it, whether it be New Year's Eve or holiday streams. I want to grow that channel as well. This channel has been experiencing some really excellent growth, but I'd like to see my personal YouTube channel where I talk about things I enjoy outside of Freemasonry, especially like travel, grow as well. Um, well, I mean, I've known Masons who partake in weed. I don't myself. As for not having a job, I mean, what I would say is not having a job, it doesn't automatically exclude you from being a Freemason. But the issue is if you, let's say, had a job for 10, 20 years, or you're established at a job, the benefit of that being established is, you have an easier time kind of setting your own schedule or talking to your boss and setting a schedule. You can get time off work because you have seniority. You can schedule vacation days first. You can ask for certain shifts. You can do all sorts of things that will not interfere with, you have more leeway at work to kind of set a schedule that won't interfere with showing up to a Masonic lodge or a Masonic meeting. If you get a brand new job, um, let's say you join Freemasonry 2 months from now, and you also get a new job 2 months from now, as an example. Because you're brand new there, you don't have seniority. It can be harder to schedule your shifts, to ask for time off, to ask for vacation days. It can be harder to, ask for time off or ask for a day shift. And that can mean it's harder to schedule your work around Freemasonry. Because it's a brand new job and you need to make a good impression, you may find yourself in a situation where you have to go to work and you have to miss Masonic meetings. So that can be one of the challenges of starting at a Masonic lodge while also starting at a new job or getting a new job. Also, there are dues and fees that go with being a Freemason. They're usually not very much. But again, when you don't have a job at the time, money's tight, even $40 a year can be a lot. So you need to keep that in mind as well. Having said that, it costs absolutely nothing to provide your contact information and express an interest and go from there. Um, G stands for different things. I don't say what the G stands for. I feel like that's a spoiler. I think you should join and find out yourself. Um, well, so long as you're telling the authorities about it, like the tax authorities, and you're claiming it. But what I would say is, not even for you per se, but just in general, that is one of the I've seen it happen where somebody joins Freemasonry at a time when they either weren't working or had a job in which they had seniority. They end up they either lose the job they had and get a new one, or they just get a new job, and suddenly they're not able to focus as much on Freemasonry because they don't have the ability to, they don't have the seniority or relationship with their coworkers or boss to schedule their work shifts around Freemasonry. They kind of have to schedule Freemasonry around their work, if that makes any sense. Hello, Mr. Cowan. That's quite the name. I mean, do Masons accept donations? I mean, I suppose good, Erebus, that's the best thing to do. Do Masons accept donations? I mean, I suppose we're not a charity, so we don't take donations in that sense. But there are, especially Masons, very often will leave, bequeath money in their will to the Masonic Lodge or something like that. That's been known to happen. Um, well, I mean, Sluice 9471. I'm with you a little bit on the first half, but the second half, I mean, so the feeling of communal support is important and it's a valuable part of Freemasonry, but it's not the, I mean, there are other reasons to be part of Freemasonry. Some join because they want to be closer to their family who may have been Freemasons. Some join because they just love the idea of being part of a historical organization. Some join out of an interest in history. Some join out of an interest in architecture. Some join because they love architectural buildings and want to be a member of a club or group that owns, like for example, in Windsor, the Windsor Masonic Temple, and what a beautiful building that is. At the end of the day, though, almost anything will be pointless to someone who does not recognize or to whom it does not speak, if that makes any sense. So, for example, I love the song Simple Man. If somebody hates that song, listening to it will be almost pointless. But for me, because there's something about me personally that loves that song, listening to it for me is actually a very fruitful endeavor. Um, it's at the end of the day, it's about the individual Mason and his what within Freemasonry speaks to him. Some join because they like not communal support, but they like routine and structure, and Freemasonry provides that. It's a great tune. It can feel like a surrogate family, though. For a lot of Masons, I think it absolutely can feel like a surrogate family. So the founders of America, when you say mostly all, that's not correct. Many were, but again, you have to be specific. Approximately 9 to 11 of the founding fathers were Freemasons. 13 of the signers of the Declaration of Independence were Freemasons. So there you go. It's kind of like when people say, a lot of presidents were Freemasons. It's like that doesn't mean anything, right? The term "a lot," because what that can mean is if you're a conspiracy theorist and you believe in like the NWO, you read the phrase "a lot of Masons." You read the sentence "a lot of presidents were Freemasons," and in your mind, a lot could mean every one of them or 99% of them, where in fact 14 to 15 presidents were Freemasons, which is less than half. Um, yes, Illuminati is a community that derived out of Freemasonry. It actually kind of started somewhat anti-Freemasonry. Right? It started by a former Mason who did not like Freemasonry. He thought it was both too expensive and not esoteric enough. And as a consequence, he decided to start his own order called the Illuminati, which really has ceased to exist in any meaningful way by, I don't know, by probably the early 1900s. You think, I mean, there's not really any whistle to blow. We got Hearts, we got Smokey. I mean, all the secrets have been exposed dozens of times over online. So if you join and your goal is to learn the truth about Freemasonry or expose the secrets, somebody's already beat you to it. The problem is nobody knows for sure. Like if you're not a Freemason and you go online and you search for the secrets of Freemasonry, you will find things that are true. You'll also find things that are not true, right? And that's the danger is you're not going to know what's correct and what's incorrect. And it gets especially dangerous because some people like you may think you've discovered the truth about Freemasonry and then be disappointed when you find out you have not. Um, how to spell. Thank you for liking. Thank you for commenting. I appreciate that. How's it going, Mark? It's funny your name, how to spell Mark. Hello, Orange. Please hit like and subscribe. When I ever hear the name Mark, M-A-R-K, I always think back to I had this friend in law school, and his name was Mark. It was spelled M-A-R-C. And so he went to it was like a Starbucks, and they asked for his name, and he said it's Mark with a C. Now, most people would hear that and think, okay, it's spelled M-A-R-C. For whatever reason, this lady who works at Starbucks decided Mark with a C meant his name was spelled C-A-R-K or Kark. And so everybody called him Kark for the longest time, which was actually helpful because there was a couple people named Mark in my class. And so it's easier to differentiate them. You had Kark and you had Mark. It was much easier to tell who was who that way. Orange row, thank you. Misinformation, disinformation, incorrect information. I mean, I think there's a combination of all of the above. Sometimes people share stuff online that they think is true, but is not about Freemasonry. Sometimes they share things that they know is not true just to be a troll or kind of a poop disturber. You get that as well. So I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't say deeper meaning. It has a meaning. It's not particularly deep. I mean, ultimately, it reflects back to stonemason guilds and stonemasons. They wore aprons to protect their clothing while they were working on stone from getting, either solutions on it or chips on it or damage to their clothes. We wore it in a metaphorical sense. In the same way we use the square implement, the tool, in a metaphorical sense to square our actions, we use the apron to try to protect ourselves from metaphorical or the metaphorical damage of vice and sin. Thoughts? Go to the doctors, YouTube. My advice to you is to go to the doctors. Don't even take the time to hit like and subscribe. Just go right to the doctor's office. And then when you get back, hit like and subscribe. Um, Thoughts about the megalithic structures around the world? I mean, I find them fascinating. I've never been one who believes in any of the conspiracy theories or ideas around like aliens built them. I think that's nonsense. I think human beings are just capable of doing some pretty incredible things. I'm most interested right now in um, I can't think of how to pronounce it now. Gobeleteki. I know I'm pronouncing that incorrectly. And also Mesoamerican stone structures. The history of humanity is the history of stone. It was stone tools that allowed us to evolve through increasing and bettering our diets. I think that Freemasonry, it's on to something in a metaphorical sense when it talks about the value and the importance of stone and stone masonry. So I don't think we have Erebus. I just think people are very capable. I mean, for example, one of my favorite heading east, awesome. I hope you enjoy it. Being a worshipful master is a really wonderful experience. It's also incredibly challenging. Um, but enjoy it, appreciate the moment. I'm sure you'll do a great job. Um, I mean, so Erebus, one of my favorite um, memes is it comes from um, I forget where I think it's on Reddit, but somebody said, "Why don't we have great wonders anymore?" and showed a picture of a cathedral, which obviously a great example of stone masonry. And then somebody responded, "We do," and had a picture of a had a picture of a MRI machine. I mean, you take one of the ancient Egyptian slaves that was, building the pyramids, or even one of the stonemasons who were overseeing the work, and you get them in a time machine. You take them to 2025. You show them an MRI machine, an X-ray machine. You show them this phone. You show them in the internet. You show them a television. They're going to be shocked, amazed, in awe, in wonder. I mean, I think sometimes we forget how much we actually have accomplished technologically since the time of stone work. Um, well, so temple building 5223, heavier. Temple building is without a question metaphorical, but it is incredibly important metaphor. In some ways, within Freemasonry, the metaphor that we often have is that we ourselves are the temple, and that we are trying to build a better version of ourselves, however it is that we can do so. Um, well, I mean, Godspeed. I'm sure that to the whomever it is that you brought into the future, whether again you could be from ancient Egypt, ancient Rome, up to really even the 15th, 16th, 17th centuries, even the earliest Freemasons from, let's say, 1634. If you put them in a time machine and brought them to 2025, it would be incredible. Like, they would consider it magic. They would absolutely consider it magic. And in some ways, maybe it is. Who knows? I mean, it's science, but I think in a emotional sense, you can consider it magical. The fact that I'm on here and able to talk to, my dad in Winnipeg and people around the world instantaneously, when for most of human history, if I wanted to talk to somebody that was even just one town over, I would have to, it would take me a month or longer to just send him a message, let alone, there's no way to talk to him instantaneously. Um, Curiosity Nudge, thank you so much for that. That's incredibly kind of you. Thank you for all of your encouragement as well. Like I said, it's been a wonderful year on stream. I've had a ton of people helping to make this stream a success, and I greatly, greatly appreciate it. So to everybody who's joined, thank you so much. You helped me get over 10,000 watch hours. You helped me get over 3,000 watch hours in the last 3,000 watch hours, and then 4,000 watch hours, which means you've helped me to monetize my channel. You've helped me get one step closer every day to turning my passion for Freemasonry into a profession. So for that, I truly, truly appreciate it. Yes, cheers to a fresh start. What I would say is, again, if you had a good 2025, then that's awesome. I hope you keep on having a good 2025. And I hope that you have an even better 2026. If you had not so good of a 2025 and it was rough for whatever reason, then I hope 2026 for you is a fresh start and you're able to put the challenge of 2025 behind you. Well then, Dad, I'll look for the ladies for both of us. I'll get double the amount just to keep the Adamson tradition of looking for the ladies alive. Well, Erebus, I would be a little bit careful about that. I don't think you should join Freemasonry looking for a way to fix your life, because at the end of the day, the fix for one's life, I mean, I don't know if like what you mean, what in your life needs to be fixed. I think at the end of the day, for anybody to fix one's life, it needs to start internally, right? You can't expect, and this is true for any group or organization, Masons, Rotary, whatever it might be. You can't expect it to be the thing that fixes your life. Even religion, I don't think you can put that on. It has to come from yourself personally, a desire to fix your life. If you have that desire and that motivation, I think that Freemasonry can certainly provide you with certain tools and ideas and philosophies that can help you. It gives you structure. It gives you a purpose. Like, you can't mess up your life too much if you're a Freemason because there are people relying on you, especially if you are, let's say, an officer or worshipful master of the lodge. You have a responsibility to, um, you have a responsibility to them, and that can help pull people out of bad habits because they know that others are relying on them. Um, I think that Freemasonry, um, it provides for many people a safety net. So if you are struggling financially, let's say you lose your job, you can't afford your rent, you have medical expenses, Freemasonry can provide a safety net in that it can, and I've seen it. I've talked in the past, three Masonic brothers I've known who would have ended up homeless were it not for Freemasonry stepping in and paying for their rent to help them out. Um, I think for me, again, I it's not that there was anything within my life that needed to be fixed before I joined. I think Freemasonry has without a doubt given an extra dimension to my life. It's given me opportunities. I've traveled around the world. I've visited brethren around the world. It's given me new perspectives on life. It's given me reminders on the value of things like temperance, dedication, perseverance. But everybody gets a different thing from it. But I think, and I've seen this happen with people. They were really struggling. They were trying to find something to help fix whatever problems existed in their life. They latched on to um, they tried to latch on to Freemasonry. And ultimately, though, because they didn't have the tools within themselves, it didn't work. I saw that at the jail and probation where I worked, where you'd have people, struggling with their life, and they'd come in and they would say, my life is fixed because I found religion, or I found this group, or I found this relationship. Ultimately, to fix one's life, it's an internal thing first. It has to start from within. If you have that internal drive and effort, then I think Freemasonry can add a great deal of dimension, shading, perspectives, and for me, purpose to one's life. If that made any sense. Thank you, 4895. Most people say I'm very ugly, so I appreciate you saying I am handsome. On behalf of all handsome people, please hit like and subscribe. I would truly, truly appreciate it. Curiosity nudge? I'm not sure. Mike, let's not be talking about that stuff here. Let's not be making accusations. I don't even know who they is. But I'm always very wary when I hear the word they. So we're an hour and 8 minutes in. So let's start talking about being safe this New Year's Eve. I've mentioned it a bunch of times. I'll mention it again. We within Freemasonry have a responsibility to, well, then hit the like and subscribe button, then take a nap. We have a responsibility to try and set an example of safety, responsibility for those around us. First of all, one thing to keep in mind is the weather conditions, especially if you're driving to and from a holiday or New Year's Eve party or New Year's Eve special event, whether you are even before you've, thought about consuming any substances or anything like that, even if you're just driving to the party, pay attention to the weather. This time of year can actually be pretty crummy for weather, obviously. The road conditions is it icy? Is it raining? Is it unsafe? Is it slushy? I will say for Windsor, our New Year's forecast, New Year's Eve will be cold. According to meteorologists, I think we've enough excitement for last week and this week, and so it's going to be relatively quiet. We do expect to see some flurries in the early evening of New Year's Eve, so a little bit of snow, but mostly Mostly it's going to be chilly and cold. The temperature is going to be, let's see if I can actually get the temperature. I had it on here a second ago. Minus 1.9 degrees Celsius with a wind chill -8, visibility 5 kilometers, with a 60% chance of flurries and minus 12 degrees tonight. So that's our weather. So pay attention to the weather. That's the first tip. Whether you drink, don't drink, consume substances, don't consume substances, driving conditions should still matter to you. Also, dressing appropriately for the cold and having something in your car, especially if you're in an area that's expecting really bad weather or dangerous weather and you're still choosing to go out. Make sure you're dressed for it, and also you have in your car, a safety kit. So if you get into an accident or the car stalls, whatever it is, you have things in your car to keep you safe. Ice scrapers, first aid kits, things to keep yourself warm. Just know how to keep yourself safe in your car if you get stuck, there's an accident, whatever it might be. Hello, Torta. Please hit like and subscribe. Wow, what a friendly person you are. Um, Yeah, I've never drank myself. I have no issues with it. Some people do. But then we go back to, if you do consume alcohol, then you have a responsibility to be safe. After midnight, New Year's celebrations end and millions take the roads and public transportation to make their way home. The sheer number of travelers plus the inevitability and irresponsibility of impaired drivers makes for dangerous driving on the roads, and one of the most deadliest days for drunk driving in America. Over 50% of accidents on New Year's Day involve high blood alcohol concentration. The National Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over campaign not only spreads the message of safe driving during the holiday season, but also comes with a national crackdown on drunk driving enforcement. Officers throughout the country will be on high alert. Um, if you are celebrating New Year's Eve away from your home or will be traveling at all, here are some ideas to keep you safe. Plan your travel options ahead of time, arranging for a designated driver, hotel stay, shuttle service, public transportation, and extra options like have on your phone the number for taxis, for Uber, have the public transport app on your phone. Consider local sober ride programs and have their information handy for yourself or friends. If you see a friend or a Masonic brother who you think is going to drive while drunk, stop him, give him the information he needs. There's also soberrides.org, provides a desktop and mobile site with options on how to get home safely. Use public transportation or cabs both to and from your destination. In terms of driving, and let's say you're going to a bar, a public place, you're using public parking or even street parking at somebody's home, make sure you double check that you lock your car door. You do not leave your valuables in plain sight. And if you are going to be drinking and not using your car to drive home, know where to find it, how to get back the next day. Don't leave it in a well-lit area that's not going to be of danger. And then, of course, bring what you need with you. Before you go, make sure you have your identification, money, credit cards, whatever it might be that you need to have with you, but not stuff that you don't need because, especially people are partying, drinking, consuming substances, you run the risk of losing stuff, especially at a bar. Apparently, this time of year or this night, it's really bad for people forgetting or losing identification, credit cards, whatever it might be. Happy New Year, Fishing Planetarium. Also, I know I'm mentioning alcohol, but we don't want to forget driving sober and the importance of driving sober. It's not exclusive to alcohol, it's also substances. So if you're going to be partaking in any substances, smoking weed, whatever it might be, you have to be responsible as well. That also can carry dangers both to your health, other people's lives, and legal liability if you're caught over the limit. So always drive sober, Fishing Planet. Always Or again, have a designated driver, use public transit, use ride apps like Uber, um, use the Drive Sober program, use rideshare, get home safely. Um, and we're not performing any sacrifices. That's not what sacrifices do. Yes, it can, Erebus, but if you're from Winnipeg, you learn how to make it work. The other thing to keep in mind, and this is also valuable for Freemasons as well, especially if you're holding a Masonic celebration at your Masonic lodge or building. And this is true for Ontario. If you are hosting a New Year's Eve event, you do have both, you could argue social or moral responsibilities. There's also potential legal liabilities. If you are serving alcohol for a New Year's Eve party and you do not have your Smart Serve or your Safe Serve certification, that can put you at legal liability risk, especially if somebody leaves your party and gets into an accident because they're intoxicated and hurts themselves or hurts somebody else. So make sure if you are hosting a party, especially if you're hosting a party at a Masonic lodge building, the people serving the drinks have their Smart Serve. I've got my Smart Serve, just on a side note. Also, make sure that you have a couple people with Smart Serve. So if one person gets sick, can't make it, you have a backup. Make sure that the smoke alarms are working and have fresh batteries. Know the number to call if there's an emergency. 911 is obvious, but maybe there are, that's the most obvious number to have on hand. Make sure you have the numbers for local cab companies to provide rides for your guests, or have a trusted designated driver ready to take guests home. When I organized an event at the Windsor Masonic Temple, a couple of events that involved the serving of alcohol, I made sure we had signage everywhere that listed the phone numbers for taxi companies for people to drive home. And when I emceed a couple of events where alcohol was served, I made sure to read out the number of taxis and ride services if anybody was partaking. Offer non-alcoholic drink options, have plenty of water available. Use differently colored cups for alcohol and non-alcoholic beverages. Don't let unattended cups with alcohol in them, just leave them around. Kids could get to them, pets could get to them. I mean, if it's a Masonic family party, kids could grab a drink thinking it's a pop, it's got alcohol in it. That actually happened to me once when I was young. I remember I saw a drink, thought it was apple juice. I think it was whiskey or something. I was like 7 at the time. I was very surprised. Um, Provide food and snacks so guests aren't drinking on an empty stomach. Cult, well, Handy, it is not a cult, but thank you for being here nonetheless. I'm gonna have to put you in a bit of a timeout because you're saying a lot of stuff. Where you're saying one thing over and over again. Well, this is promoting why I love Freemasonry, HRS. Um, it's not a ritual, it's just me talking about a thing I love. But I think we as Freemasons have a responsibility to be responsible and safe on New Year's Day and New Year's Eve and demonstrate that safety to others, especially if we are holding a special event at a Masonic lodge. Because again, keep in mind, there's absolutely liabilities. If you are a Masonic lodge and you hold a um, New Year's celebration, and somebody leaves your celebration intoxicated and gets into an accident, you need to be able to show that you were following all the proper safety steps and protocols, like in Ontario having your Smart Serve, and that you did not, because you can be liable, right? Other safety considerations, if you're going to do fireworks for New Year's Eve, make sure to check local regulations regarding personal use of fireworks. If it's illegal or you're unfamiliar with how they work, leave the fireworks to professionals. If you still decide to use legal fireworks, make sure to keep children, pets away. Um, keep water, keep a garden hose, keep a fire extinguisher on the ready. Um, Never point or throw fireworks at another person, obviously. Um, again, know your first aid, know your safety tips for those around you. Um, when you're traveling, again, and when you're traveling, depending on whatever the weather is, but especially I think if the weather is particularly bad or particularly dangerous for driving, make sure you have your phone and make sure you have your phone fully charged before you go out. It may be even worth having a charger for your phone, a portable charger. Because again, if you get into an accident or your car gets stuck, it's worth having a phone that's charged so you can call somebody for help. Um, Also, it might be worth, especially if the weather's bad, the brethren are older, if it's a Masonic celebration or friends getting together, set up a phone tree. So somebody's leaving, they're driving back home, the weather is bad. Just ask them to give you a call when they get back home, or you call them, maybe an hour after they leave, just to make sure they made it back home safe, especially if the weather is bad. Um, and again, if they are not driving because they're being responsible and doing the responsible thing, and let's say they take public transit or a taxi, it might still be worth giving them a call just to make sure they got home safe, especially if they're intoxicated. You want to just be checking in on them to make sure they're doing okay. Be aware of your surroundings. If you get separated from a group, you're out with friends, again, you have a phone, you can contact them. Mind your limits. Alcohol is almost unavoidable on New Year's Eve. Even if you and your friends don't partake, you'll likely encounter intoxicated revelers over the course of the night. Keep your limits in mind. Um, it takes 10 minutes for alcohol to reach your brain, probably less than that. So just be safe, be responsible. Um, While it's important to have fun, keeping a level head and not getting injured or taken advantage of should be a primary consideration. And then obviously, right, I'm talking about this primarily and these safety perspectives from my consideration as a 42-year-old man. Obviously, for women, they also have safety considerations they need to keep in mind anytime they're going out, but especially New Year's. Be safe, watch out for each other, be smart. Remember that as Freemasons, we have a responsibility to portray safe behaviors. And then if we're not doing so, just remember that we could be putting ourselves, aside from at legal risk and legal liabilities, the health of ourselves, the lives of ourselves, and those around us could also be put at risk. Yes, that's true. I don't have legs, Andrew Man, but I do have a very handsome face, so please hit like and subscribe. Hello, Tulip Hysteria, please hit like and subscribe. There are some Masons on who are watching this. Freemasonry is not satanic. Um, Freemasonry is not a religion of any sort. It's not satanic or otherwise. But thank you so much for being here. I hope you're doing well. Please take a moment, hit that like and subscribe button. TTMM, Jesus loves you. That's very kind of you. Thank you for saying that. I hope that, Raj of God, I enjoy chess. I don't know if you what believe in playing chess means. Some Freemasons enjoy chess, some don't. I've actually seen a few Masonic chess sets, which I thought was pretty cool. I am Canadian, born and raised in Winnipeg, currently live in Windsor, Ontario. Um, Love Canada, though, greatest country in the world, in part because we have the greatest neighbors in the world. TT, thank you for that. We know many Christian Freemasons who would agree with you. Freemasonry does not equal Jewish. Freemasonry equals civic organizations. Charles Bester, I could be a Freemason. I am a Freemason in America. I'm actually a member of a lodge out of Texas, as well as in Canada. Freemasonry, Charles Bester, please like and subscribe. Gabe can't say. You can be a Freemason in America. I can be a Freemason around the world. Freemasonry is a civic organization that is over 300 years old, that dates back to the stone Masonic guilds of the Middle Ages. Um, it's interesting. We're about, yes, 27%, no, 73%. So more people do not have plans than do, but that just means you can join me for my New Year's Eve live stream. I mean, I wouldn't use the terms ancient versus modern. There's emulation and York. There's Craft and Red Lodge. There's the appended bodies. Well, there's ancient and accepted Scottish Rite, right, which is one of the appended bodies within Freemasonry. When I see ancient rite versus modern, I tend to think of the moderns versus the ancients, which was the split within the United Grand Lodge of England when it was first formed. But that's kind of a whole separate can of tuna. Childish, I love Childish Gambino. I don't think you're him, but yeah, I discovered him through Community. Freaks and Geeks is a great song. I will take it because most people say I look ugly. So if you think I look like Matt Damon's uncle, I very, very much appreciate it. Thank you for being here. Please hit that like and subscribe button. T23790. That's cool. I don't really know. I mean, my dad is English. My mom was from Winnipeg. I don't really know a ton about like going far back in my family tree. I should probably try to learn more about it. I know I got a very significant Masonic family tree, which I greatly appreciate. Thank you, Japan Travel Zoom. I really want to visit Japan at some point. It's super on my list because Freemasonry in Japan is big. Please take a moment, hit that like and subscribe button. I'd very much appreciate it. And let me know how you're doing. Yes, Ireland does have Freemasons. Ireland has a lot of Freemasonry. The Irish Freemasons were actually the ones who started the ancients in the whole ancient versus modern debate, or split within Freemasonry in 1751 or thereabout. I will not, Christopher, but I will ask you to hit the like and subscribe button. What does the free mean? Actually, it's a good question. The free means a couple of different things. People don't necessarily agree on what the free means. There's two different possibilities. It's weird how does this light make my hand look kind of yellow? Um, Hold on, I'm curious now. Now my light's falling. So the free comes from two different, for heaven's sakes, kind of possibilities. Either it references our ability to travel in order to, earn a living through our trade. There's a reason why most tradespeople are called journeymen, whether they're carpenters, stonemasons, electricians, plumbers, right? They're journeymen in the sense that tradespeople originally, the purpose of becoming an apprentice and learning how to do the work was so you were then free to travel from job site to job site and earn a living. From a stonemason, it could be earning a living at a job site in England, and then in Scotland, and then in Spain, and then in France, and then in Italy, right? You kind of traveled for your work, and so you were a journeyman. And so free meant you were free to travel from job site to job site. The other word, the other idea as to where the term Freemason comes from is it referenced a type of stone, which was a freestone. And freestone meant a type of stone that you could basically pull right from a quarry without needing to chip it out. It was a type of limestone, and it was a particularly challenging piece of stone to work with. So Freemasons were a stonemason that could work on that one type of stone. So they were highly skilled. And then when we created Freemasonry, the fraternity, or the fraternal or social group, we adopted the term, Freemason for that reason. Um, um, to kind of indicate that we were highly skilled in kind of building ourselves or working on ourselves. So that's where free comes from. It's one of those two. I've heard both as an explanation. I think most historians say it's the latter, that it's freestone, although some will argue it's freedom as in freedom of movement to travel as a journeyman for your work. You need plastic surgery. You need to hit the like and subscribe button. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a networking element to being a tradesperson, especially back in the day when, again, it was all word of mouth. So if you wanted to earn a living as a stonemason, it was very hard to expect that you would spend the entirety of your time on one job site. Sometimes you would, because some job sites, it would be, the expectation would be, it would be, several lifetimes before the work would be complete in some cases. But other cases, you might do a lot of smaller jobs. You would have to have somewhat of a network and be able to travel from job site to job site. And, people would have to know that you knew your stuff, that you weren't a Cowan. In fact, that's where a lot of these modes of recognition originated from. They were ways to prove not only that you were a stonemason, but the level of stonemason you were. So if you got hired onto a site, they had at least some knowledge or some assurance that you knew what you were talking about, and you weren't a Cowan, which meant a fake stonemason. Randall Carlson is a Freemason. He's a great Freemason. I enjoy his work very much. Out of curiosity, which looks better? 1, 2, 3. I think a number 1 is what I'm going to stick with. Keep yapping. Well, I care. I give an F about it. So does Erebus, because he's still here. So at least a couple people care about it. You must also care about it since you're here talking to me. Mikey UCC cares. By the way, welcome, Mikey. I forgot you were on. Let me know what you thought about the tips I gave, if they made sense for safety. If you have any tips you would add and what they would be, I'd love to hear it. And do you have any plans for New Year's as well? I'd love to hear that also. And again, thank you to everybody who's helped to make 2025 such a success for the Square and Compass podcast. And Square and Compass promotions in general. I am sure 2026 will be even more successful. Just keep on liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing, all that good jazz. I'd very, very much appreciate it. I'm probably going to be back on at 1 a.m., to be honest, I guess technically New Year's Day. We shall see. We got some, that might be Smokey on there. Hello, Undead Swan 02. Thank you for being here. Even if you are an Undead Swan, you can still hit the like and subscribe button. That should not stop you from doing that. I don't know do I like bugs? I don't not like bugs. I think bugs are cool. I don't know. I don't know what you mean by that. I have nothing against bugs. I think bugs have as much of a right to be here as anybody else, any other animals. I mean, I'm not sure how much longer I'll be on stream. I'll probably go for another half hour, which will be 2 hours in, and then I'll take a break, and then I might come back on this stream again after I take care of a few phone calls. But yeah, like always, like, comment, share. That helps the most in terms of growing the channel. That great old WOM, word of mouth. I also have content on Medium and social media. So if you enjoy reading about Freemasonry, then I hope that you'll consider following me on Medium. The kids upstairs are having fun. You got to be dedicated to Freemasonry. I guess you don't have to, but you should. I do take a lot of pride in trying to be, um, as dedicated as you can. I think, like everything in life, you get out of it what you put into it. Nothing's wrong with that, Erebus. And honestly, for a lot of people, social media is far more of a challenge. It's very often can cause a lot of problems, especially if people are trying to avoid family or people and they find them through social media. So nothing's wrong with that, not having a social media presence. I appreciate that, Erebus. I mean, I hope I'm a gold mine for truth. If nothing else, what I try to be is at least a gold mine for my interpretations and what it is I love about Freemasonry. That to me is something I take great pride in being able to talk about and talk about well. I don't watch television, probably smart as well, curiosity nudge. Actually, I haven't watched TV in ages. It's all streaming services now. Although every now and then I still will watch television over the antenna, especially because being so close to the States, I still get a lot of States channels like Start TV and Comet TV. I like Comet TV a lot, by the way. Um, but yeah, I think it's about how you fill up your time and experiences. I once heard this quote: art is how we decorate space, music is how we decorate time. I think experiences are how we decorate time. And watching TV is one way to decorate time. Uh, Going to a Masonic Lodge meeting is another way to decorate time. And maybe it's a healthier way to decorate time. Um, so, yeah, I guess that's what I'd say. I am Canadian, funky fresh, born and raised in Winnipeg, live in Windsor. I assume that all Canadians, they look handsome and cool. That is what my assumption is. Nice try, Nicholson. Please hit the like and subscribe button. I think social media has both positives and negatives. Like everything, right? It's a tool, it's how you use it. And I think even if you are somebody who doesn't like social media, I think it kind of is here to stay. So everybody, and this includes Freemasons, need to have at least some very basic social media training and knowledge of how social media works and how social media operates. Um, Social media, what's the word? Hygiene, not how to make sure you're not posting stuff that you don't want people to know, how to have different privacy settings, etc., etc. I'll take it. I'll take it. I mean, I love being Canadian. I've said it a million times. Canada is the greatest country in the world, in part because we have the greatest neighbors in the world. Um, so I love Canada. I love the States. I love everywhere I've traveled. I was incredibly blessed this year to travel really around the world. I went to the Philippines. If I could go through it all, I went to the Philippines. I went to um, Brazil, Colombia, South Korea for a layover, Dubai, and then a bunch of different places in the States. Well, I guess in the States, really, I traveled almost exclusively to Chicago and Glenview and Michigan. In the past, I've been to Texas, California, Nevada, Florida, Illinois, Michigan, Missouri, Kentucky, Philadelphia, the tri-state area. Um, but this year, really, my trips to the States were primarily Michigan and Illinois, and then it was overseas trips, which were incredible. UK as well. I was in Scotland and London this year also. I can't believe I almost forgot about that. Thank you for reminding me. So it's been really lucky that I've had the chance to visit so many wonderful places. Don't forget, you can hit that like and subscribe button if you're new to this stream, and you can do a super chat. Just 99-cent super chat helps big time with the stream. If you can't, I completely understand. But if you can, and you can do a 99-cent super chat, I would greatly appreciate it. I mean, as someone in a wheelchair, believe me, I loved the cobbled streets, but I also found them a pain in the butt because your wheelchair is always getting stuck. But and I'm very lazy. You're looking great today. Thank you. Most people hazard say I look ugly, so I'll take looking great today. Please hit like and subscribe. I would truly, truly appreciate it. And thank you so much for being here. Zach, that was a sign about Goldberg, and then Dominic Mysterio, and it always made me laugh. So I try to be like Goldberg. Zach, please hit like and subscribe. Sadly, in Windsor, there is no Masonic symbol on the signage coming into the city, which makes me sad. Whenever I'm entering a town and they have one of those welcome to small town or welcome to town with a bunch of different like organizations and symbols beneath it, I always look for a Masonic square and compass. Sometimes I see it, sometimes I don't. Um, an error occurred. It said tried to send you. I don't know what that means. There's always going to be errors with computers. Yes, I know where that's from. I'm a professional wrestling fan. I'm a professional wrestler or trading anyways. So I would have to know where that's from. In honor of me knowing where that's from, I think you should do a 99-cent super chat. I would very much appreciate it. Really? I did not know that, Mikey. I'll have to look for that. I was not aware. Well, yes, yes and no, Erebus. I'm trying to think of how to well then 50-cent super chat. That's as low as I can go. So there are Masonic symbols everywhere, but that doesn't mean that they're quote unquote secret or hidden. I did a whole post about keeping your eyes open. They're usually in plain sight. They want to be seen. You just have to know to look for them. So, for example, I was just in Amherstburg, Ontario, and close to the Masonic Lodge building, there is a Masonic cornerstone that was dedicated in 2006. It's out in the open. It's in the public, but it's not some giant thing. You have to just know where it is. But then you see it. You see a Masonic symbol. I mean, Masonic lodges. There is a tree that was planted in the 1950s in the Windsor riverfront that was planted by the Freemasons. There's a plaque next to the tree with the square and compasses on it, an explanation of it. It's not hidden. It's just you don't necessarily know it's there unless you look for it. But it's there for anybody to see. Um, Graveyards very often have Masonic symbols. The point is, and this is my advice to everybody, keep your eyes open. You never know what Masonic symbols you're going to see if you pay attention to them. And, I even did a few years ago a Masonic scavenger hunt in and around Windsor where I showed off all of the different Masonic artifacts, items, signs, monuments that you could see in and around Windsor, Ontario, and Southern Ontario. Is really, really cool. The number three is significant in Freemasonry, but I would say the number seven is more significant. But three does pop up in a few different areas. In some jurisdictions, it's the quorum number, which means you need at least three Masons to run a meeting officially. Others, it's higher. Others, it's seven. It just depends on the jurisdiction. Thank you, how to spell Mark / how to spell Kark. I appreciate you helping out. Happy New Year, Rondo. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're having a good day. How's it going? I hope that you are doing well. I hope everybody watching this is doing well. Thank you, Rondo. Mr. Fox, I have a Masonic katana. I would not want to mess with a Tyler that had a katana. That's really cool. Welcome, Mr. Fox. Thank you for being here. Rondo, any plans for New Year's? And I don't know how long you've been watching, but if you didn't hear me say it before, thank you for all my audience members, yourself included, for helping to make 2025 such a success. We are well on our way to having a successful 2026 as well. But that is thanks to all of you, including yourself, Rondo, for all of your support. Sleep. Nothing is wrong with sleep. I support that. I do not know who Kyle Franklin is or to what you're referring. Hit that like and subscribe button. I am 6 subscribers away from 3,200 subs. So let's see if we can make it. Pretty sure my name is Cameron Adamson, but okay. I do not. What I'd like you to do is hit the like and subscribe button. Sorry, which founding father? Adams? Was Adams a founding father? Sorry, a Freemason? I forget. I used to know. Let me double check. Masonic presidents. There's a list. I don't think he was. Let me see. I could be wrong. Yeah, he was not. I was right. He was not a Mason. The list of Masonic presidents, anybody's curious, George Washington, James Monroe, Andrew Jackson, James Polk, James Buchanan, Andrew Johnson, James Garfield, William McKinley, Theodore Roosevelt, William Taft, Warren Harding, Franklin Roosevelt, Harry Truman, Lyndon B. Johnson, Gerald Ford. Joe Biden was declared a Mason on site by Prince Hall. Ronald Reagan was made an honorary Scottish Rite Mason. Bill Clinton was a de Molay. LBJ was an entered apprentice Mason, never made it further than the EA position. What's interesting is, if I recall correctly, it was Taft who was made a Mason on site, and Theodore Roosevelt was actually raised to the 3rd degree Master Mason while the sitting vice president. His raising was so well attended, they had to actually carry him over people's heads into the lodge room because everyone wanted to be there to see a vice president become a Master Mason. Sir John, well, if you're talking about Canada, Sir John A. Macdonald was a Freemason. The last Freemason prime minister we had was John Diefenbaker, who actually visited the Windsor Masonic Temple, which is a cool little note. A lot of the Mason prime ministers were actually part of. There was, I forget the history of it or the context of it, but there was a history of oh, I can't think of the word now. There was a time in Canadian history where we had four prime ministers in like a year. They kept on getting appointed by the governor general because there was some, I forget what the situation was, but there was like four of them in a year, and like three of them were Freemasons. Est the lawyer, thank you for being here. Please hit that like and subscribe button. Yes, I got a big mouth, as many people know. I talk a lot. You can still hit that like and subscribe button. Esty the lawyer. And thank you for being here. No, it really doesn't, Erebus, despite the fact that that's what people like to say. Thank you for that. It does not. It really dates to the 1500s. Now, after Freemasonry formed, and when it was trying to develop its rituals and ceremonies, it did borrow or adopt symbols, philosophies, ideas from a lot of different, not even secret societies per se, but ancient philosophies, religions, ideas, whether it be ancient Egypt, Judaism, Christianity, Islam, Chinese mythology, architecture, Stoic philosophy. It kind of borrowed from all of those, but that's not to say the Knights Templar, but that's not to say it was a one-to-one correlation. Rather, they looked back in time and pulled philosophies and symbols that had a moral meaning to them. Gnosticism, sure, some Gnosticism. Heart failure, don't do that. I'd say Roman guilds, not cults, Roman guilds. What you should do is hit like and subscribe, and don't do that. It's a very foolish thing to do. And if you're thinking about it, maybe call somebody to talk about why you're feeling that way. We're going to give it a bit more time, wait to see who else joins. I hope everybody's going to have an excellent, happy new year and a New Year's Eve. If your 2025 was great, then that's awesome. I'm happy for you, and I hope 2026 is even better. If your 2025 was crummy, then I hope that you turn a page and your 2026 is obviously better also. My farts smell like roses. Please hit like and subscribe. He did for sure, Mikey. And it's one of those things where I can't really blame him or be mad at either him or be mad at like Mormonism, because Freemasonry borrowed so much from so many different groups. You can't then be upset that the Mormons borrowed so much from Freemasonry later on. It's kind of like it is what it is. Um, Happy New Year to you as well. Thank you for being here. I hope that you're doing well, Cadet. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Join me tonight on my personal channel at 11, and then I'll be back on at 1 a.m. as well. I mean, I think it's very complicated, Erebus. So I think you need to be careful about assuming a particular kind of narrative. I think wars can start out of a desire for people to maintain power. They can also start from a desire for resources, religious differences. It's complicated. It's very complicated, I think. Welcome, Yuri. Thank you for being back. Isn't there a PlayStation 6? Isn't it coming out? I think there's a PlayStation 6 already, sir. Or maybe there's not. I don't know a lot about gaming. I play PlayStation 3. Because that's all I need. I got my Dead Space. I got my Assassin's Creed, and that's good enough for me. The way to my heart is Dunkin' Donuts. Dunkin' Donuts is my favorite coffee, and I actually really like their donuts as well. One of the things I most look forward to and I'm most excited for when it comes to traveling to Chicago or just the States in general, but especially Chicago, because they have it there so many places, is Dunkin' Donuts. America runs on Dunkin'. I can tell you, I love Dunkin' Donuts. So that's the way to my heart. Look, if you ever want to support the channel, but you don't want to do a super chat, then by all means, send me Dunkin' Donuts. That is good enough for me. Sorry, I know I'm Canadian. I know I'm supposed to love. I know I'm supposed to love Tim Hortons, and I do. I love all coffee, but I especially love Dunkin'. Oh, you are wrong about that, Mikey. Dunkin' Donuts coffee is incredible. There's a lot of incredible coffee places in the States. I don't know what you're talking about. In Glenview, Illinois, again, my favorite place to visit, or Chicago, my favorite coffee is actually probably either Glenview Grind, which is a great coffee shop, it's next to Core Power Yoga, or I also really love Tous les Jours, which is on Milwaukee. I love the Dunkin' Donuts in Glenview. I even love the coffee at the library, which is currently undergoing renovations. So Tim Hortons is good. I like it, but again, it's not as good as Dunkin' Donuts. Take away my Canadian citizenship if you must. I'm putting my I was gonna say foot down, putting my wheel down. Tim Hortons coffee is not as good as Dunkin' Donuts coffee. But if you want to try really good coffee, may I recommend Glenview Grind in Glenview. It's on Glenview Road, actually, very close to the uh, very close to the Core Power Yoga, and it's got a really cool little library in front of it. You usually have some good books there as well. Where's my boy? I mean, I'm here. I thought I was your boy, Yuri. I thought I was your boy. What are you talking about? I'm working on that too, not for Ireland, but for England. So that's awesome, Erebus. Yeah, my dad is English, and so I'm trying to get my English passport. I've got his information. The problem is I just haven't had the time to do it, but I want to. I've got some of it filled out, but there's a lot more I still need to get filled out. So I'm working on it. Um, no, it's very possible. I hope you get it. I mean, to me, it's one of those things where it's like, why not? If you have the ability to do it, then like, why not, right? Why not take advantage of it? You have the heritage. Ireland's an awesome country. So absolutely. I wish you best of luck. I'm sure you'll have no, I'm sure it'll be well worth it and you'll have no trouble. Yeah, I mean, well, I think, there's one thing I've been interested in, and I was thinking of doing an actual like podcast about it at some point. The differences in like passports and what they represent. As somebody who travels a lot, I consider myself in some ways a professional traveler. Um, you know, it's like it's important to me that I know about like how the Canadian passport is perceived around the world, how many places around the world will take the passport exclusively, how many require both a passport and a visa. Um, actually, the Canadian passport has been doing really well within the world. It's been growing in terms of its, I guess, strength is the word to use, right? In terms of its strength and its the number of places that are willing to accept a passport exclusively and don't require a passport plus a visa for Canada is actually growing. Within the States, it's declining. So the Canadian passport, in some ways, is actually doing a much better job at growing than compared to, let's say, or growing in strength in, um, gosh, what's the word I would use? Growing in strength, growing in relevance, growing in the freedom of movement it provides as compared to other passports. Harmony of the Voice, I would like to visit Israel, to be honest, I really would. Um, yeah, that does happen. They do take your picture. That's happened to me a few times. I would say there are a lot of Canadians who are hesitant to travel to the States, and I can understand it. And I don't blame them. I've made the decision, even though I'm not a fan of many of the political decisions of the United States, I'm going to keep traveling there because I feel like the connections and the brethren I have are too important to kind of put those aside. And I also believe genuinely that, the political situation is sand, Masonic connections are stone. I don't want to find myself in a situation where, we forget about the Masonic ties between our two countries. So I get it. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely get it. But um, I would still choose to travel to the States. And I take pride in all the travels I have had to the States, to my friends, to my family, to my brothers, all the people I've visited in the States. And I do consider part of my Masonic family. In many ways, I consider Glenview Masonic Lodge, Masonic Temple to be a home away from home and a place I'm grateful for. Yes, it's a good way to look at it. I don't know who Otzi the Iceman is, but he sounds like a very handsome fella and stone cold. Hit the like and subscribe button. I loved visiting the UK, Erebus. I loved visiting the UK. Um, it was wonderful. Oh my gosh, I'm the worst person to take business advice from, believe me. I guess what I would say when it comes to online anything, I think the thing you need to be consistent. You need to be streaming and producing content as regularly as you can. You need to be willing to try new things, which is probably good advice for masonry as well. And you need to love what you're doing, love what you're talking about. Um, because I think, look, if you love Freemasonry or anything, if you want to do a channel about knitting and you love knitting and you care about it, people will see that you love it and they're going to respond to that love by liking and subscribing. It's, you know, you want to try to create a relevance for your channel through loving what you're talking about. And sooner or later, the YouTube algorithm will pick up on that. Um, Yes, I am a Freemason, Reese. Please hit like and subscribe. By the way, I'm at 3,195 subscribers. I am 5 subscribers away from 3,200. Help a brother out if you can. I'd appreciate it very much. And let's give it a few more minutes. Mr. Cowan, welcome. That's quite the name for this stream. It's good to see you. I hope you're doing well. Binary Zero NYC. Now we can see this, but he says, or she, I don't know. There are two genders. That's just really it's bullying. Um, what I will say about that is what I always say. when it comes to these questions, Freemasonry does not discriminate based on sexual orientation, nor should it. When it comes to trans policy, I support the United Grand Lodge of England's approach, which is to welcome trans members as members, which I think is as it should be. I am monetized. If you want to help me out, you can do a 99-cent super chat. But yes, I'm monetized on both levels, right? You can, to be fully monetized, which means you get revenue from ads, you need at least 4,000 watch hours in the last 365 days. Within the last, to get your super chats and memberships, you need at least 3,000 hours. So I'm above 4,000 hours, so I've got both, and I'm very grateful for that. John D. Well, you seem like a racist fellow. Jewish people, what they are is people. That's what matters. And they should be judged according to their individual merits and abilities. And that's the end of it. And, I'm proud to sit in lodge with people who are Jewish, Christian, Muslim, Hindu, Sikh, etc., etc. They are all part of my Masonic family, and I'm grateful for them all. I'm even grateful that you are here, John D. Even though what you say concerns me a little bit, I still hope you'll hit the like button and the subscribe button, and perhaps reconsider some of your ideas. I mean, I think, Erebus, part of it is how I was born, right? I was born without legs, and because of that, you kind of just grow up with it and you get used to it. And it doesn't really seem like a hindrance or a burden because I was born without legs. I do think for some people, I mean, I would imagine losing your legs later in life would be very difficult. But I've known people who've lost their legs, later on in their life and actually have no issues. Well, they have issues, but they overcome them and they learn how to adapt, and they end up having, doing a great, leading very productive lives. So I think it really is, in many ways, your attitude. I say that again. I'm also very lucky, and I recognize I'm very lucky to be born when I was born and where I was born. Throughout much of history, if you were born missing limbs, it was, you might very well end up, there's a very good chance you would end up discarded on the side of the road. Your family considered a curse. If you weren't, there was no such thing as a wheelchair or artificial limbs or opportunities. And then eventually, for another significant period of time, if you were born missing limbs, you were kind of consigned almost to a home where, you would live and you might have a wheelchair of sorts, but you weren't able to get a job or kind of contribute to society. It's really, I would say, exclusively since maybe the 1920s, thanks in some ways to people returning from World War I, missing limbs and needing to adapt, society needing to adapt, that you actually have seen opportunities for people with disabilities. And so I'm grateful. I mean, I was born in 1983 at the time when you had wheelchairs and artificial limbs and opportunities. And I'm also grateful to be born in Canada, which had a healthcare system and an infrastructure system that could take care of me and help me achieve my goals. So yeah, I guess what I'd say is it makes me grateful to be born when I was and where I was. Well, I've never heard of Ivor the Boneless. I mean, I do think there's also a difference historically. People who lost their limbs in accidents or later in life, even in medieval times, they, oftentimes tended to, they would still go on after, especially if you're missing an arm or something. If you were born missing limbs, that could oftentimes be, you might expect a little bit more challenging in terms of whether they would keep you or not keep you. Is DNA a language? I mean, metaphorically, you could consider it a language if you want. It's the way kind of our ancestors from the past speak to our present selves and the way we speak to the future, I guess. Not literally, but metaphorically. So, sure. If you want to call it that, I'm perfectly happy to use that terminology. And binary code. Well, I mean, like there's going to be certain consistencies in nature, and those consistencies will bleed over, influence how it is that we as humans create things or develop things, right? I mean, at the end of the day, we're all kind of subject to nature and the natural laws. And because of that, it would make sense to me that, for example, we would create a binary system that might, in some ways, mimic how DNA looks. That would be very possible. It would not shock me by any means. And please don't forget, if you're just joining us, take a moment, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Thank you all for being here. I hope you're all having an excellent night. And I'm going to end this stream shortly, but then I'm going to come back on both tonight at 11 o'clock, my personal channel, but probably after a little bit as well. I hope you'll remember the advice, the things we talked about. Use common sense, be safe, enjoy your New Year's Eve, but remember you have a responsibility to be safe both for yourself and those around you. And so I hope that some of the ways that I talked about being safe makes sense. Hello, hey, Scruffy's back. Welcome back, Scruffy. I hope you're doing well. Thank you for being here. I love pickles. People who know me know I love pickled anything. William Shakespeare was not a Mason. I think slightly predated Freemasonry. I could be wrong. I have to double check his ages, but I think he slightly predated Freemasonry. People who know me know I love pickles, and I love pickled garlic, pickled carrots, pickles themselves, pickled olive. I just love anything in a brine. I love one of my favorite pickled mushrooms. One of my favorite type of foods is antipasto, where it's like you get the tray of roasted red peppers, pickled olives, I love that stuff. I love it. So pickled onions on a sandwich is incredible and unbelievable. Who are the famous Freemasons? I mean, I don't. It depends how you define famous. I mean, George Washington, Ben Franklin, Brad Paisley, Louis Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin. They've been famous in different aspects of, John Wayne. Different Masons are famous for different areas and different endeavors. Hitler was not a Freemason. Hitler was very anti-Freemason. So there you go. What I look for Plink is handsome. Neither was Himmler. The Nazis were opposed to Freemasonry, so the Nazis were not Freemasons, which makes sense. They'd be opposed to it because within Freemasonry, we welcome men and women, but men of all different religions, faith, ethnicities, languages, backgrounds, which is the opposite of Nazi ideology. I'm glad. I hope that I was able to help you learn more about Freemasonry, Curiosity Nudge. I'm hoping that maybe you have a more positive view of Freemasonry now. That's kind of, my goal ultimately is just to talk about why I love Freemasonry. But if in the process of that, I can encourage others to have a more positive view of Freemasonry, then I think that's all the better. Or at least that would be the goal, or one of the goals. Well, this app is bad. I hope you're not referring to the YouTube app when you say this app is bad, because I hope you'll hit the like and subscribe button. What you've just said there are political statements. Freemasonry is not political. We have Masons who are left wing, right wing, and everything in between. I would say I have some concerns about socialism. I have some concerns about Jeff Bezos's of the world, but every Mason has their own views on it, and they have all different ideas on their political ideologies. Coffee. I have coffee right now. If anybody knows me, they know I love coffee. I don't tend to drink energy drinks. But I do love coffee very much. So, all right, guys, thank you all for being here. I'll be back on again, I think, one more time before tonight. So, thank you all for joining. Have an excellent night, and I'll talk to y'all soon. You can be proud. There's nothing, you can be proud to be gay, communist, and Catholic. Good for you. Freemasons have many gay members. We have many Catholic members. I've never met a Freemason who calls himself a communist, but we certainly have many left-leaning Masons. How far left? I don't know. We tend not to talk about politics in lodge. We also don't talk about religion in lodge, for that matter. So, goodbye. I'll see y'all soon.